None of the following dialogue is legal advice, and any discussions regarding the circumvention of law are entirely satirical and not meant to be followed.
Hello and welcome to Probably Legal, where we concern several lawyers with arguably legal exploits. Today we will be talking about income tax and the possibility of bypassing it. First of all, when did we institute income tax? Offshore Citizen states there are 15 income tax-free countries around the world, while immediately after on Google, Nomad Capitalist disagrees, stating there are 16 countries that are income-free. So, unreliably, considering there are 195 recognized countries, somewhere along the way, 91.8% to 92.3% of the world agreed upon income tax. To review this topic, it may be good to start at the very beginning of tax. The Tax Foundation states that taxes started 5,000 years ago with ancient Egypt, where it is thought the pharaoh collected almost 20% of all grain harvests. To put that in perspective, ancient Egypt used grain as a type of currency, so that collection, the first tax, was income tax. It was at some point taken up later by ancient Greece, where it traveled the world and apparently barely changed. In the US, the average income tax is 14.9%. In Canada, it's 25.6%, Denmark is 35.5%, Japan is 22.3%, Romania is about 10%, Taiwan is about 40%. This leaves a very odd similarity of universal income tax that averages around 20%. Getting back to actual American government, the first income tax was ratified in 1862 when President Lincoln formed an income tax to pay for the Civil War. That particular income tax was removed, and then later there were some attempts on some niche revenues, such as alcohol, but income tax as we know it today was ratified in the 16th Amendment in 1913, which allowed Congress to collect income tax. The reason that I just tone shifted from ancient history to American government is because America was very staunchly against income tax in its founding. The War of Independence was specifically to get rid of most taxes. In 1913, when the 16th Amendment was ratified, the income tax was 1 to 6%. The income tax only increased due to World War I, specifically in 1917, to 15% to 67%, though it dipped back, for example in 1925, where the income tax was 3 to 25%. 1940 was the last mention of an 8% income tax, and it has never gone lower after. So knowing a bit more about income tax, what are the best ways to avoid it? The first and easiest way is municipal bonds. Municipal bonds are bonds given by government entities, meaning the risk of these bonds defaulting is 0.08%, and using municipal bonds, you can get past some state and federal income taxes. Contributing to retirement also has the same effect. For example, additional 401ks and IRAs are deductible. These strategies are fairly tame for this particular podcast, so let's get into ways to entirely remove your income tax. First is the most obvious: stop making money. A returning solution to most of government problems is to become a vagabond, but for this episode, let's see if there's a better way. One of the more interesting strategies, while still incurring value, requires first getting rid of property tax. Go to Colorado and purchase a very small company with the capacity to sustain a person, through farming, fishing, etc. Then get it religiously exempt through any religious organization. Or, in the case that does not work, find yourself a blind veteran to live with to claim the property. This will create a property tax exemption. The next complication is continuing to accrue value. The best way to do this is by never making income, through trading. Find a person who is willing to do exact trades, and then make sure you both never make any money on the trade. The reason I specified equal trade is if you do an unequal trade, it has to be recorded as income, which can be taxable. If you want to make it really complicated, find a whole lot of people to do this with at once, and create a pseudo-trade society without any income tax or property tax. Or, alternatively, you could just leave the country and go somewhere without income tax. Thank you for listening in to the Probably Legal podcast. See you next Floriel.